There was the British government took measures such as in taxes, and a new tax was introduced known as income tax. Next is they also imposed high custom duties, that is the taxes on high taxes on import of goods and export of goods. Next, while these people were suffering from economic crisis, businessmen were profited a lot due to supply of the war equipments. So the anger spread among the people, villagers, and people. They the nationalists leader took advantage of it, and they uh, created awareness to go against the British rule. Therefore, these are the 7 impacts of First World War. Thank you.
That it is बहुत बढ़िया है, स्लाइड बहुत बढ़िया है. Can you go back to the previous slide?
Yes, sir.
या ये इतना टू गुड इट इज़ ओके, इसमें सब कुछ है. इट इज़ लाइक अ सर्कल. तो बहुत बढ़िया स्लाइड बनाया है. सो अब मैं ऐसे तो नहीं बोल सकता कि ताली बजाओ, बट इट्स गुड वर्क. सो आई होप गाइज दिस इज़ द बिगिनिंग. ये 5 मार्क का क्वेश्चन है, आप इसमें नोटिस करो, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. नाउ लेट्स गो ऑन टू यू स्टॉप शेयरिंग समुद्यता. नाउ लेट्स गो
Yes, sir.
नेक्स्ट वन, दैट इज अबाउट Gandhi, when Gandhi came to India and his first 3 satyagrahas and the idea of satyagraha. Now this is going to be explained by Darshana Vyas. Darshana Vyas, the stage is yours.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Just a
Stage
minute.
है क्या, mic है? Mic is yours.
I did not make the separate slides because I felt that these are much better than mine.
कोई बात नहीं बेटा, आप explain करो.
We all know that Gandhiji was in South Africa before 1915 because he was fighting against the racism in South Africa. After which he came to over there also he used a novel method called as Satyagraha. Satyagraha literally means to holding of truth, that we should. Yeah, sir. What is it?
Sir, Satyagraha is insisting on truth.
क्या हुआ सर, आप ऑडिबल नहीं है.
Darshana, it's nothing. It's actually Sanjana, Nikita and Rudra are here. तो ऐसे कुछ इधर कुछ एक फ्लाई इधर आया, तो फ्लाई को संजना ने मार दिया, तो उसके बारे में कुछ कॉमेडी था. तो
सॉरी
यू कंटिन्यू.
मैं बता I'll continue with my talk. Satyagraha literally means to hold on truth or to insist to say that to ask for the truth. Over here, when Gandhiji came back, he thought that I can even use this same thing in India also to get Indians the freedom. So he asked everyone to give non-violence uh, strikes, hartals, and demonstrations, hunger strike, and all. But he asked everyone not to go violent because if everyone goes violent, then it will be a danger for the Indians itself. But when he asked to do so, not everyone have done this. That will be explained by others. I'll just do this part. According to this, he went on to 3 satyagrahas. This first 3 satyagrahas. It was the Champaran movement. That was the indigo plantations. Everyone over here knows what indigo means and what does indigo do to us, do to the plants, the fields. Sorry. What the indigo destroys the field completely and makes it unfertile. So the fields in Champaran were also going to get destroyed due to indigo. For which, when Gandhiji went over there, he fought against that. And the next movement was Khera movement in 1917. It was a crop failure and plague epidemic made the life of the farmers miserable in the Khera district of Gujarat. So they started a movement under Gandhiji's leadership with the demand for a reduction in land revenue. At that time, the British government were taking a lot of land revenue from the farmers, and due to the crop failure in the Kheda region of Gujarat in 1917, they weren't able to pay the land revenue so high. So they asked for a decrease in the land revenue. The next one was the mill workers movement. That was in Ahmedabad. The mill workers were paid a lot less than they were asked to work, and so Gandhiji made so all of them over there came together and fought against this non-violently, which Gandhiji named as the Satyagraha. In Champaran, he met Dr. Babu Rajendra Prasad, whom you will be knowing about in the next part, and even Patel in Kheda. That's all my quote.
ओके दर्शना, दैट इज वेल डन, अच्छा लगा। आई थिंक नाउ यू गेटिंग अ रिवाइज हो रहा है, तो आप उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा ध्यान दो। एक्चुअली जब मैंने एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए बोला था, तो आई थॉट यू आर एट फ्री विल टू एक्सप्लेन, आप कैसे भी करके एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं। इफ यू वुड हैव शेयर द पीपीटी, इट्स गुड फॉर एवरीबडी, इफ इट इज नो प्रॉब्लम, नो कोई चीज़ नहीं है। नाउ हियर कम्स द व्हाट दर्शन एक्सप्लेन्ड इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर 3 marks, द फर्स्ट 3 सत्याग्रहs ऑफ गांधी जी and what is the idea of satyagraha. Next comes the खिलाफत movement. पता नहीं, मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा खिलाफत movement में किसको बोला था। आई थिंक कृष्णेंदु को मैंने खिलाफत movement बोला था। राउलेट मुझे याद नहीं आया। कृष्णेंदु, आर यू देयर? कृष्णेंदु,
Sir.
ओके, नाउ कृष्णेंदु विल टेक ओवर। कृष्णेंदु विल एक्सप्लेन द खिलाफत movement. मैं म्यूट करूंगा मेरे को अभी।
Good morning, everyone. And I am going to take Khilafat movement. So the Khilafat movement was a pan-Islamist movement which was flagged off when the Caliph of Turkey, which was considered as the spiritual head of Sunni Muslims, the throne of and the power of the Ottoman Khalifa was taken off, which we call the Caliphate. And this happened after the World War I under the Treaty of Sevres. So this made Muslims all over the world raging and aggressive, and this movement was a major one in Indian independence movement. So it was led by the Ali brothers, the Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali, and they had formed the All India Khilafat movement. Khilafat committee on 1919, and Mahatma Gandhi was made the head of the committee. And Mahatma Gandhi, after the Rowlatt Satyagraha, he had been thinking for a broader movement against the British. So he made an idea. So he started taking the help of the Khilafat movement supporters, and had thought of bringing Muslims and Hindus together to fight against the British, because the Muslims were already raging against the British, and they wanted to get rid of the British. So Gandhiji took the help of All India Khilafat Committee, and they started the non-corporation movement. And let me say that the Turkish tribes had established the Ottoman Empire in 1299, and the Caliph was made, and he was the head of every spiritual place in the Muslim mosques and every other thing. So after the Treaty of Sevres, Turkey was Ottoman Empire was divided, and the Khalifa was left alone with the Turkey. So the other Egypt, Palestine, and other some countries which had a bigger mosque, and they lost the power of the mosque, and the caliphate was overthrown. And this made the Muslims raging, and they came up with the Khilafat movement against the British. So this Khilafat movement had a broader image in the non-corporation movement, and this was also one of the major independence movement. So this resulted in the giving of the titles like Mahatma Gandhi had a Kaisar-e-Hind title, and they had given back that, and what do you call Rabindranath Tagore gave his knighthood back to the British, and it was a big movement, and this was resulted in the Malabar Rebellion of 1921. The Malabar Rebellion began as a reaction against the heavy-handed crackdown of the Khilafat movement, and that was done in the South India, I mean the Kerala, and mainly the taluks of Eranad and Valluvanad of Malabar. So when the Khilafat movement became a big movement in Indian independence, this movement was split in many other states of the country. So the Malabar Rebellion was in the south part of India, and this movement, when Turkey has decided to resign the uh, place of Khalifa, and they took the path of secularism, and this movement died down, and died on 1924, and this came to an end, and which resulted in the next movement, and that is the civil disobedience movement. And so the Caliphate movement was a big movement in our Indian independence struggle. So that's all for today. Thank you.
इट्स वेरी वेल डन एक्सप्लेन्ड कृष्णेंदु शायद मुझसे ज़्यादा कृष्णेंदु ने ही अच्छा एक्सप्लेन किया लगता है उसको उस कॉन्सेप्ट को मैंने तो बहुत छोटा सा एक्सप्लेन किया था तो इट इज़ वेरी वेल डन कृष्णेंदु ही एक्सप्लेन इसलिए है ना यू फेल्ट बहुत उन्होंने उसने उसको आई थिंक या सर्च्ड फॉर सो मेनी थिंग्स नेक्स्ट इन लाइन इज़ द राउलेट एक्ट मुझे याद नहीं है मैंने किसी को इसको दिया है तो किसी को दिया है क्या इफ़ एनीबडी हैज़ बीन अलॉटेड द राउलेट एक्ट otherwise it is Jallianwala Bagh massacre in line and it is for Apurva Rowlatt Act किसी को नहीं मिला है ना okay I'll just take the time here कि explain करूँगा मैं Rowlatt Act क्या है Rowlatt Act was brought to curb the nationalist prisoners को 2 साल के अंदर जेल डाला अंदर नहीं 2 साल के लिए जेल डाला जाता था without any trial political prisoners were put inside the jail imprisoned for 2 years without any trial it's called Rowlatt Act हमारे ह्यूमन राइट्स के खिलाफ है इट इज़ अगेंस्ट द ह्यूमन राइट्स क्योंकि किसी को हम अरेस्ट करते हैं तो उनको 24 आवर्स में मैजिस्ट्रेट के सामने प्रोड्यूस करना होता है 2 साल तक ट्रायल नहीं है तो इट इज़ इनह्यूमन प्रैक्टिस करना तो इसको ब्लैक लॉ बोलते हैं उसके ऊपर प्रोटेस्ट भी शुरू हुआ एंड लेट अस सी व्हाट हैपेंड विद दैट प्रोटेस्ट Apurva will take over the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Apurva, you can turn on your camera like everybody does and start explaining.
Sir, I have some connectivity issues. I can't turn on my camera, but I can.
Sure. No issues. You can.
Good morning, friends. As we all know, the Jallianwala Bagh. It was incident. The incident took place in Amritsar on April 30, 1919. It was. It's also known as Massacre of Amritsar. Jallianwala Bagh massacre, also known as Massacre of Amritsar, incident on April 13, 1919, in which British troops fired a large crowd of Indians in Jallianwala Bagh. Came to protest again. In that, some large number of Indians gathered in the meeting of Jallianwala Bagh, In that, only some were Protestants. Others came to attend the annual function of Baisakhi. Being from outside the city, many villagers were unaware of the martial law. Actually, British had imposed the martial law. Martial law means no one should no one should form the organizations, and no one should form rallies. But they were unaware of it. The people who gathered here were unaware of the martial law imposed. General Dyer did not want any Indians to indulge in any form of protest against British, so he ordered open fire on the Indians in Jallianwala Bagh. Um, it is reported that the it is reported that the that around 379 people died, and while 1,200 people were wounded. It Dyer entered blocked the exit points. Actually, the Jallianwala Bagh area had only one exit, and all the it was a covered place and had only one exit. General Dyer blocked the exit, and he open fired all the Indians there.
Apurva, did you finish? Apurva, can you hear me? I think Apurva had some problems with the... Hello? Apurva, are you there?
Sir, I think she left the meeting.
I think it's the connection issues. So let's see. Don't no worries there. We'll leave it there. Actually, it started with the Rowlatt Act participation, opposing the Rowlatt Act, which turned into a massacre called Jallianwala Bagh. Right now, what happens is the session of Congress INC session in Nagpur and Kolkata. Kolkata, it happened in September, and Nagpur, it happened in December. And Gandhiji decided that he will launch a non-cooperation movement throughout India. And there are stages of non-cooperation movement. I'll just explain the stages, then we will move on to the next one who explains it. First, there will be 4 stages. First is renunciation of titles. Titles will be given back. Like already they are told, like Kaisari Hind is given back, like knighthood is given back.
And I too.
Yeah, resigning of jobs. Third one is non-payment of taxes. Fourth one is they will not participate in any elections, boycott of elections. Fifth one is boycott of foreign goods. These are the stages in which the non-cooperation movement was done. Where it was done, what was the effect, we'll give the chance to explain. I think Divya from 10th B, Divya K from 10th B will explain the spread of non-cooperation movement in towns and countryside, that is Awadh and countryside. Divya, are you there? We'll give the chance to Divya. I'll just mute. Divya, you can proceed.
Yes, sir. Good. Hello, friends. Today I'm explaining how the non-cooperation movement was a non-cooperation movement was unfolded in the towns and the countryside. The basic demand of the non-cooperation, like the basic demand of the people was Swaraj, but it meant different things to different people. So now in towns, in cities, it began with the participation of middle class. Thousands of students, they left government schools and colleges, and the headmasters and teachers resigned their jobs. Lawyers lawyers gave up their practices. The council elections was boycotted, except in Madras. In Madras, the Justice Party was ruling. It was a party of non-Brahmins, and they felt that the only way to gain power was getting a position in the council, and so they were not supporting the boycott movement, and this these happened in the cities. Now, like what were its effects? The foreign goods were boycotted. Liquor shops were getting liquor shops were picketed. It was uh, restricted, like entry was blocked, and the foreign clothes were burnt in huge bonfires. The import was halved between 1921 and 22. From its value fell from 102 crore to 57 crore. Merchants and traders, they refused to sell foreign goods and finance foreign trade. Then, as the boycott movement spread, people began discarding foreign clothes and wearing Indian ones. So the production of Indian textile mills and handlooms, it went up. But this movement gradually slowed down. That the reason was that the Indian cloth, that is the khadi, was often expensive, like more expensive than the foreign produced clothes. So this then the next problem was there were no institutions. Like now, if we avoid buying a certain company, there should be something alternate that wasn't there. So that was a problem. Then the when this was the this resulted in the students and teachers joining back government schools and colleges, and the uh, lawyers also came back.
Okay.
Sir, am I not audible?
Yeah, Divya, you are audible. You are audible. Why? What happened?
No, sir, some comment not able to
अरे
something.
डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट कमेंट. ऐश्वर्या का कमेंट है. ऐश्वर्या का कमेंट ऐसे ही होता है. वो ऐश्वर्या का कमेंट मोबाइल में कुछ तकनीकी प्रॉब्लम है. यू कंटिन्यू बेटा.
Yes, sir. So now it's how it unfolded in the villages. Now the non-cooperation movement, it spread from the cities to the villages. So there it was in Awadh. In Awadh, the movement was led by Baba Ramchandra. The movement was against talukdars and landlords who demanded high rents and cesses. Cesses means the British tax. Like last year we had learned tits and tails. It is a tax of the British. Then the peasants had to do begar, and begar is the work for uh, work for the work without pain. Like no wages will be given. You have to work without. And this peasants were against doing begar and the landlords' farms. So the peasant movement demanded reduction in revenue, abolition of begar, and social boycott of oppressive landlords. In many places, the Nai Dhobi bunds were organized to deprive landlords of their services, of even barbers and washermen. Then in June 1920, this is before the non-cooperation movement, Jawaharlal Nehru began moving in going in villages in Awadh, going around villages in Awadh and asking the villages about the problems, getting to know about their problems. And by October, the Audh Kisan Sabha, Audh is the old name for Awadh, Audh Kisan Sabha was set up, and its head was Jawaharlal Nehru and Baba Ramchandra. Then within a month, over 300 branches were set up. 300 branches of the Audh Kisan Sabha were set up. So when the very next year, the non-cooperation movement began. Their idea was to get the struggle make a wider struggle, create a very even more wider struggle. And the Congress was unhappy about this thing. The houses of As the movement spread, the houses of the talukdars and merchants were attacked, and the bazaars were looted. The grain hordes was taken over. In many places, like the Gandhiji, I mean, the idea of Gandhiji of not paying taxes spread, was gaining popularity. So that's all.
वेरी वेल डन. मुझे एक लग रहा है कि जब आप एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हो तो आप एक एक कॉन्सेप्ट को खूब अच्छे से पढ़ के एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हो, तो आपका एक्सप्लेनेशन मेरे से अच्छा है. मैं तो ऐसे ही हवा में तीर मारने की तरह बोलता हूँ, तो आपका तो बहुत ज़्यादा ही एक्सप्लेनेटरी है, तो बढ़िया है, वेरी वेल डन दिव्या. नाउ लेट्स नेक्स्ट वन इज द स्प्रेड ऑफ नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट इन द गुडेम हिल्स इन आंध्र प्रदेश एंड प्लांटेशन इन आसाम. तो इसको एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए हम मंच पे बुलाएंगे आयुष जडोन को. आयुष, आर यू देयर फ्रॉम 10B?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Ayush. Now it's your time. You can move.
Good morning, everyone present here. Today I am there to explain the movement in tribal peoples and in plantations. Tribal people understood the message of Gandhi and the idea of Swaraj in another way. They thought that they can be independent by using force. In the Gooden Hills of Andhra Pradesh, a militant guerrilla movement took place. The cause of this movement was the colonial government has closed large forest areas and prevented people from entering the forest to graze their cattle. The tribal people thought that their traditional rights were denied. When the government forced the tribal to do begar for road building, they started revolting. Alluri Sitaram Raju became their leader. He claimed that he had variety of special powers. He could make astrological predictions and he could heal people and he could even survive bullet shots. Alluri Sitaram Raju started talking about greatness of Gandhiji. He was inspired by the non-cooperation movement. He also asked people to wear khadi and give up drinking. But he also thought that India could be only independent by using force. He attacked many places, killed Britishers, and did guerrilla warfare. At last, he was captured and he was executed. Now I will explain about the movement in plantations. Workers in plantations also thought the NCM in the word Swaraj in different manner. Under Inland Immigration Act, plantation workers were not permitted to leave the tea gardens without permissions, and they were rarely given such permissions. When they heard of NCM, many workers left the plantation without asking permission, and they thought that Gandhi Raj was coming, and everyone will be given their own land. However, they never reached home. They were beaten up by the police and brought back to the plantations to work. Thank you. Over, sir.
ओके आयुष, इट्स वेरी वेल डन आयुष. बहुत ही मेहनत के साथ कर रहे हो तो अच्छा लगता है ये. नाउ द नेक्स्ट कॉन्सेप्ट इज obviously he withdraw the non cooperation movement because of the violence erupted in चौरी चौरा में कुछ उसको हम लेट्स पुट इट एज गूगल सेज कि कुछ पीसफुल प्रोटेस्ट चल रहा था तो पुलिस ने उनके ऊपर लाठी बरसाया, तो एज अ रिजल्ट वो क्राउड मॉब जो है गुस्सा होकर चौरी चौरा के एक पुलिस स्टेशन में फायर लगाया, तो 22 policemen were killed. This incident deeply moved Gandhiji because Gandhiji always was with the non-violence. He was never with violence. Then he withdraw the non-cooperation movement. तो इसके बाद क्या हुआ, non-cooperation movement कम हो गया. Then suddenly there is a time where Gandhiji thought there needs to be some other movement. Then he thought in the Lahore Congress of 1929, he thought that एक तो वो है कि Lahore Congress of 1929 important है because of the Purna Swaraj, the proclamation of the Purna Swaraj. 26 January every year will be celebrated as Independence Day. The third one, he decided that he will launch the civil disobedience movement throughout India. तो उसके फर्स्ट फेज में उन्होंने दांडी मार्च शुरू किया. तो दांडी मार्च के बारे में एक्सप्लेन करेंगे तृप्ति भट्ट फ्रॉम 10B. तृप्ति.
Good morning, everybody. So today I shall be explaining well on Dandi March, but Dandi March is also known as the White Movement because everyone who participated in Dandi March wore white sarees, and when Gandhiji reached Dandi, there were around 50,000 participants. So obviously it was a 2-mile long row of participants, and it was like a white river. So, why did the Dandi March happen? Gandhiji basically put down 11 different demands to Viceroy Aden, and whose demands were total prohibition of intoxicants and liquor, release of political prisoners, cuts in the army expenses, salaries to the civil servants, 50% reduction in the land revenue, changes in the Arms Act, reforms in the CID, lowering of the rupee sterling rate, textile protection, reservation of coastal areas for the Indians, and abolition of salt tax and the government salt tax. But Irwin did not basically take this very seriously, and he also said that this has not made a very large impact on me to make me sit, wake up in the night. And they did not actually take it as a very big deal. And because he did not fulfill Gandhiji's demand, he started uh, Dandi March. Basically, it was not designed to be Dandi. They were going to stop somewhere near the coast of somewhere in Borsad in Gujarat. But then when we saw the large number of participants, we finally decided to go to that. And so Dandi March started on 12th March uh, 1930, and it was a 24-day long march that happened that stopped on 6th April 1930, and so Gandhiji, along with his volunteers, walked for 24 days to 40 miles, covering 10 miles each day. And after he reached Dandi at 6:30 a.m. in the morning, he took a pinch of salt and declared that this is going to be a huge loss for the British government, and it's going to shake their base very much. And so this marked the beginning of civil disobedience. But this was different from the non-cooperation movement because Gandhiji asked the people not only to stop cooperating with the British rule, but also to destroy and not abide by the government and what they said. He asked, so thousands in the different parts of the country broke the salt law. They manufactured salt and demonstrated in front of the government salt factory. As the movement spread across, foreign clothes were boycotted, liquor shops were picketed, and so basically the government was not, they did not listen to what the government said, and also, the salt tax that the Indians paid was equal to 8.2 percentage of the British tax, and it was a very huge amount. So, Dandi March कितना ही है?
बेटा आपने खत्म किया दांडी मार्च था ना
Yes, sir. Dandi March is over, but the aftermath of Dandi March also should I explain?
no need beta no need okay well done it is hey just a moment hang on Sanjana का call आ रहा है just see hey sorry it's not Sanjana okay actually the call had 050 तो मैंने सोचा संजना का नंबर है वो मेरा ही क्लास का नंबर है guys well let's move on with this one दांडी मार्च जो शुरू हुआ वो बाद में different groups participated in the civil disobedience movement. The first two groups, that is the rich peasants and the poor peasants, are going to be explained by Falak Phogat. Falak, are you there? Falak?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Falak, you can take now. Falak,
Sir,
continue.
am I audible, sir?
Yeah, sure. You are audible. You are audible. May I mute?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Good morning to everyone. Today, I have an opportunity to explain how participants saw the movement. So, I am going to explain the matter in the countryside, what happened in the countryside. In the countryside, there were rich peasants and poor peasants. So, the Communities which belonged to rich peasants were Patidars of Gujarat and Jats of Uttar Pradesh. They were active in the movement. Whatever happened, they were present at that place. Whatever happened, these two communities were the major producers or they produced commercial crops. So when the trade pressure from fall prices had occurred, they were very hard hit by these things. So their cash income had disappeared. The cash was not coming from them, means not getting the salary, they were not paid, and whatever was there with them, they were using it. So it was vanishing, it was disappearing. Then nothing was left with them, so they found it very impossible to pay the government's revenue. So they asked the government to reduce revenue, but the government refused their demands using revenue. There was widespread resentment. These peasants became enthusiastic supporters of civil disobedience movement. As so,
Fine, tell me.
as the civil disobedience, as they thought that participating in disobedience movement was giving benefit to them, they wanted to support. So they started organizing their communities for supporting civil disobedience movement, and they were also conducting people not supporting, means the reluctant members who were support started boycotting all progress and they start fight for Swaraj and struggle for high revenues. Swaraj meant for them for decreasing the high revenue prices of land and other goods. Then when Gandhiji called off the movement in 1931, they all were disappointed. And when then the movement was returned, they all were not interested in the movement. They refused to participate it because they thought that last did not any benefit, then time would be the same. Now the poorer peasantry. They were not only interested in the lowering of revenue demand, they also had some other wishes or other demands. Many were tenants cultivating land. Tenants means the person who is giving rent to the owner or something. Then, as the depression continued, they also had the same problems of cash disappearing. They found very difficult to pay rent for their owners. Now, the second demand for them was that their unpaid rent to the landlord was to be remitted. So, for this, they joined many radical movements conducted by socialists and communists. So, Congress was first willing to support, but then its leader thought that if we support the poorer peasants, we will lose the support of the rich peasants. And if we support the rich peasants, we will lose the poor peasants. So they wanted the rich peasants to support them. They refused to support the poor peasants. So this relationship between the poor peasants and the Congress remained uncertain. So the conclusion of this was the rich peasants wanted the lowering of the revenue and the poorer peasants wanted the same, but they also wanted the unpaid rent to the landlords to be remitted. Thank you, sir.
It's very well done. Okay, मैंने क्वेश्चन लिया आई थिंक कृष्णेंदु इज पुटिंग अ क्वेश्चन व्हाट इज द चौकीदारी टैक्स. तो वो हम लास्ट में लेंगे, कोई बात नहीं, हम एक बार फिनिश करेंगे. आई थिंक राजवर्धन हैड ऑलरेडी पुट इट. वो एक पुलिसमैन होते हैं, विलेज पुलिसमैन, उनको देने के लिए टैक्स बनता है, उसको चौकीदारी टैक्स बोलते हैं. चौकीदार से चौकीदारी टैक्स आता है. लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन, दैट इज द पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ और भी ग्रुप्स थे जैसे business group and industrial workers. So I think Amrita Varshini has got it. So Amrita, you can explain from that one. Amrita, are you there?
Yes, sir. So shall I start explaining?
Yes, Amrita, you can. I will mute.
I'm actually going to talk about the participation of businessmen and industrialists.
Amrita, your audio is very less. Audio बहुत कम है.
Audio बहुत low है.
Can you pump up some volume? We need to
One
pump up
second.
some volume. How do you pump up some volume? Go on, Amrita. Now test it.
1 second. Sir, am I audible now?
Yeah, very much audible.
Yes, now it is.
Yes, sir. Now I'm going to talk about businessmen and Indian industrialists, the participation of them in the civil disobedience movement, including women.
Yes.
Uh, During the First World War, Europe was only focus was on the war. So Indian industrialists and merchants had made huge profits and had become powerful. They were keen on expanding their business, so they now reacted against colonial policies, which restricted business activities. They wanted protection against import of foreign goods and a rupee sterling foreign exchange ratio. That is, 1 rupee was actually 0.011 pound sterling, which is actually more in those days. Um, and and also they to organize they are like to organize business interests.
Yeah, Amrita, we are listening. We
Yeah.
are listening.
Yes, sir. To organize the business interests, they formed associations or organizations like IICC, that is Indian Industrial and Commercial Congress in 1920, and FICCI, that is Federation of the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries in 1927. Led by prominent industrialists like Purushottam Das Thakur Das and G.D. Birla, like Birla Cement, the owner of it. The industrialists attacked colonial control over the Indian economy and supported the civil disobedience movement by giving them financial interest, and also they refused to buy or sell imported goods. They were against it because it might lead them to huge losses. So most businessmen came to see Swaraj as the time when colonial restrictions, that constraints of the colonial government over business, Indian industrialists would not exist, and it would flourish without any constraints. But after the failure of the Round Table Conference, that is that which Gandhiji attended, business groups were no longer enthusiastic; they became dull. They were apprehensive. They were worried that the spread of militant activities and the losses that uh, the business companies were facing, as well as the growing influence of socialism, that is the young members of the Congress, people were becoming socialists. Yeah, these were the things that they were worried about. And the industrial working classes, the industry, one second, sir, something is wrong. Yeah, the industrial working classes also come under this because as the industrialists came closer to the Congress, they were going aloof. They didn't participate in the civil disobedience movement. The industrial working classes did not participate in the civil disobedience movement, but except Nagpur, in the Nagpur region, they participated because they wanted. They participated because they were against uh, low income, low wages, and poor working conditions, and they also selectively adopted Gandhian movements, including boycott of foreign goods. There were strikes by railway workers in 1930 and dock workers in 1932. So what happened was in 1930, thousands of workers in Chota Nagpur tin mines wore Gandhi caps and participated in protest rallies and boycott campaigns. But the Congress was reluctant. They were not allowing, like they didn't hear the demands of the workers, industrial workers, because this would alienate the industrialists and divide the imperial forces, anti-imperial forces. Another important feature of civil disobedience movement is the large-scale participation of women. During Gandhiji's Salt March, many women came out of their houses and they came to listen to him. They participated in protest marches and manufactured salt and picketed foreign cloth and liquor shops. Many went to jail. In urban areas, in urban areas, these women were from high caste families, and in rural areas, these women were from the rich peasants' households. Moved by Gandhiji's call, they began to see service to the nation as a sacred duty. But even after these services that they did, even after this increased public role that that they had shown in the civil disobedience movement, there was no change in the position of women that people had were visualizing actually. Gandhiji was convinced that it was the duty of women to look after the house, the home, and the hearth, and also to be good mothers and good wives. And for a long time, the Congress was reluctant to allow women to participate and to have a seat in the Congress organization. It was keen only on their symbolic presence, that is like Bharat Mata, and but they didn't allow them to enter the organizations. That's it, sir.
Okay, that's very
Hello.
well explained. Yeah, yeah, I'm here. This is very well explained, Amrita. I hope everybody is getting the
Thank you,
point.
sir.
Actually, Abhinav, I wanted Abhinav to explain, but Abhinav है क्या? आज नहीं है लगता है. No, Abhinav is missing. Okay, fine, no problems. Guys, next we will go with the concluding of this one. Shashank will do significance, limitations of civil disobedience movement, and if any differences are there, the differences between the civil disobedience movement and non-cooperation movement. Over to you, Shashank.
Good morning, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are very much audible.
Uh, Coming from the Lahore conference thing, I'll come little bit from there and finish it, sir. Is that okay? Actually, I prepared from there.
It's absolutely okay.
Um, from the Lahore conference in January 1929 was held to attain Purna Swaraj uh, uh, and um, and the discussion led to the inauguration of civil disobedience movement. For this, the Gandhiji led a march from Sabarmati to Dandi with his 78 followers, which was a 240 miles distance. He traveled 240 miles in 10 days. Salt law with the inauguration of this movement. Not only in Dandi, many places across India had this. Um, uh, Due to the civil disobedience movement, the foreign goods were boycotted, liquor shops were picketed, and as usual, like the non-corporation movement, government servants um, left their job and began began protesting in rallies. People also in this, the special thing was people refused to pay taxes. Leaders and workers attacked the government offices, and at last they were arrested. The different social groups which participated in this was rich peasants, which included Jats and Patitas of Gujarat, of UP and Gujarat respectively. They demanded for the low revenue, which because they were hardly hit by the Great Depression and the falling of prices. Also, the small peasants demanded for the reduction of rent, which they had to pay it for the landowners. Third were the business classes who demanded for the protection against the import of foreign goods. Explained. Um, I don't think I should go more there. But they two main group uh, two main associations were formed by them, which was IICC and FICCI in 1920 and 1927 respectively, which gave financial help and refused to sell foreign goods. to the movement. Industrial workers, they were poorly paid, and conditions of the work was very horrible. So mainly other not in Chota Nagpur, in the regions of Chota Nagpur plateau, these industrial workers were much participated. In other parts, it was not so much. In Chota Nagpur plateau in 1930, railway workers, and in 1932, dockyard workers, and in 1930 again, the tin mines workers protested against this by wearing Gandhi caps and making rallies. Another important thing was the participation of women. Large number of women participated in this, and even during the Dandi march, thousands of women came near Gandhi to listen his words. They participated in the rallies, and they protested, manufactured salts, picketed the liquor shops, and they were as usual arrested. Um, and in 1931, this movement was called off by Gandhi because he wanted to attend the Round Conference table, which is also known as Gandhi-Irwin Pact. He went to London in 1st September 1931. This conference started, and it was continued till 1st December, which which made to the Arise of Government of India Act 1930, but it was not a usual thing. So when Gandhi came back to India, he saw many of his the Congress was made illegal, and things, and many of the leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan were arrested. Seeing this, he again restarted the movement. But while he restarted, the participates in the first in the before 1931 civil disobedience movement, they didn't support him because they wanted their revenue to be revised, and they were very disappointed because it was not revised, and it was called off in 1931. So a conclusion can be that the civil disobedience movement was the first struggle to attain Purna Swaraj or complete independence, which was the aim of Lahore Congress, Lahore sessions. Sorry, it was based on non-violence satyagraha, and Gandhian idea was widely spreaded and followed in this movement. Also, an important aspect was women participation in large numbers, but it was sad that it took no radical change in them. It was a real mass movement as different social groups participated, which others also mentioned. It was it was a challenge for British government as many people openly disobeyed laws. The limitations of this movement are such that Dalit didn't participate in this movement, in this civil disobedience movement, as Congress ignored their.
Yeah, what happened? Shashank is froze. Shashank?
Sir, I think.
Shashank, are you there? Actually, your video got froze.
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, now you're audible.
Where did I get out? Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Shashank. Go on.
Okay, I'll start from the limitations itself. Dalit didn't participate in this movement as the Congress ignored their didn't give importance to the demands, and many Muslims didn't participate in this movement, like the non-cooperation movement, because
What happened, Shashank?
Congress was moving closer and closer. Um,
We cannot hear.
Shashank, I think connection
Sorry, sir.
connection in there is not stable.
Of the microphone, the receiving.
Sir, am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible. You are audible.
Many Muslims didn't participate in this movement as a non-cooperation movement because they thought that Congress was going more closer to the Hindu Mahasabha, which was the Hindu Mahasabha was founded in 1933, like the for making the Hindu rights, like how Muslim League was there in 1939, founded by Ali brothers. Like Hindus wanted their own community, so they started the Hindu Mahasabha in 1933, and Congress supported this. So Muslims didn't like and they didn't participate in this. And in between of the movements, many communal rights started. This made the disunity between Hindus and Muslims. This arised disunity between Hindus and Muslims, and industrial workers, as usual, in other places than Chota Nagpur Plateau, was participation was very less. Now, coming to the differences between non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movements. In non-cooperation movement, people refuse to cooperate with the government, but in the civil disobedience movement, they uh, they um, they broke laws and did as they wished. Muslims participation was large in non-cooperation movement, but in civil disobedience movement it was less. No tax campaign were part of non-cooperation movement, but in civil disobedience movement, no one paid taxes. So that's all. Thank you.
Shashank,
I
and
have one doubt, sir.
the largest part, I think that's why he had to do a lot of talking. Rest of them got very smaller one, and Shashank got the bigger one. But Shashank, it was very well done, compiling both of them and differentiating between two, finding similarities and differences is a very commendable task. So very well done, Shashank. Now let's move on to Gandhi and the Harijan, Gandhi, Ambedkar, Harijan, and upliftment of the measures from Gandhi, and which culminates in the Pune Pact. So Sanjana will take over from here. Sanjana, you can take over.
Yes, sir. I'm going to explain the Gandhian reforms for the upliftment of Dalits. Gandhiji believed that Swaraj would not come even after 100 years of struggle if untouchability would not be abolished or eradicated from the society. So he called the untouchables or as Harijans, which meant that they were the children of God. He organized satyagrahas in various places to secure the untouchables or Harijan at entry into the temples and to let them have access to public wells, tanks, roads, and schools, which then the Harijans did not have access to. He himself cleaned the toilets to dignify the work of the untouchables and to prove to the upper class society that even the work of the Harijans contained dignity. He persuaded the upper class to change their heart and give up the sin of untouchability, which the upper class society thought the Harijans had earned by birth. Gandhiji believed that a separate electorate for the Dalits, as demanded by Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, would slow down the process of the acceptance and integration of the Dalits into the society. Now, something related to the reforms of the Pune Pact of 1932. So, yeah. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who organized the Dalits into the Depressed Classes Association in 1930, clashed with the thoughts of Mahatma Gandhi at the Second Roundtable Conference. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was demanding a separate electorate for the Dalits. When the British government then had accepted the demands of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar relating to the separate electorate, Mahatma Gandhi went on a fast, which he announced that he would continue until death. As I already told, that Gandhiji believed that separate electorate would slow down the process of acceptance of Harijans into the society. Ambedkar then had to ultimately accept Gandhiji's position, and the result was the Pune Pact of September 1932. This pact gave the depressed classes, which later came to be known, or which we now know as the scheduled castes, reserved seats in the provincial and the central legislative councils. But then, even though they were given separate electorates, they were to be voted by the general electorate only. But the Dalit movement, however, continued to be fearful or anxious of the Congress-led national movement. Now, just a short note about the Lucknow Pact. Made by the Indian headed by Bal Gangadhar Tilak and the all
We cannot.
League. headed by
संजना थोड़ा सा
it
वॉल्यूम
was adopted by the Congress.
Network problem.
थोड़ा सा वॉल्यूम.
Can you hear me? So for the Lucknow Pact, once again, can you hear now?
Now it's perfect. Now it's perfect.
Okay. So I'm going to explain the short note of Lucknow Pact. Lucknow Pact was an agreement made by the Indian National Congress, headed by Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and the All India Muslim League, headed by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. It was adopted by the Congress at its Lucknow session on December 29, 1916. The pact dealt with the structure of government in India and and it was related to the Hindu and the Muslim communities. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, I heard it, Sanjana. Thank you for that. Remember, guys, मैं पूना लखनऊ पैक्ट के बारे में बोल रहा था. Lucknow Pact happens to be the pact between the Muslims and the Indian National Congress. Obviously, the reason is providing them reservation in the provincial elections. And the Pune Pact is also the same thing, providing reservation for the Dalits, which happened between Ambedkar and Gandhi ji. तो दोनों हैं. लखनऊ पैक्ट के बारे में इतना ज़्यादा बुक में पूछा नहीं है, लेकिन पूना पैक्ट आपको इम्पोर्टेंट है, मे बी फॉर MCQ और 3 मार्क्स. नाउ कम्स द लास्ट पार्ट. पूरा लास्ट पार्ट मैंने कल यूट्यूब लाइव में पढ़ाया था, हालांकि कोई मैंने इसको किसी को दिया नहीं था. सो आई विल टेक दैट लास्ट पार्ट एंड I'll conclude the chapter. The last part is about the rise of nationalism in Indians. तो जैसे फ्रेंच में उनके फ्लैग थे, उनके लैंग्वेज था, and we also had the same thing in India. The first thing obviously I told you is the Bharat Mata, the image of Bharat Mata, और allegory आपने देखा है, like French have their own Marianne, or German have their own Germania, Italia, like we have our own Bharat Mata. It was visioned by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyaya, or Chatterjee, you can call him like that, and it was painted by Abanindranath Tagore. When you see the first image of Bharat Mata, you will see a soul, calm, divine figure, and she is like the same thing where our country stands for. The values, calm, divine, everything is our country. But if you see now the image of Bharat Mata, which is painted by Ravi Verma, you can see more grandeur in that one, where she will be standing in front of a lion like that. See, she will be wearing ornaments, jewelry, and all, and holding a tricolored flag. But if you see the first one, that is how Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyaya saw Bharat Mata. That's the first one. The second one is Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram is also known as the national song of India. It became a war cry, like Les Marseillaise for France. Vande Mataram, when it was sung in the freedom marches, in the protest movements, and it brought people together. Now आज के टाइम में आप अगर इंडियन फील करना है, आपको महसूस करना है कि आप भी इंडियन हो, तो आप जनगण मन सुनेंगे तो आपको लगेगा, है ना, यू विल फील वेरी नाइस. और अगर देखो, व्हेन यू विन अ मेडल, आप एक मेडल जीतते हो कोई भी कंपटीशन में, जब आपके विक्ट्री लैप हो जाता है तो आपको सेरेमनी, मेडल सेरेमनी चलता होता है, तो जो पहले रैंक में आते हैं, पहले मेडल लाते हैं, उनके कंट्री का एंथम बजता है. नॉर्मली सी 99 आउट ऑफ 100 केसेस एथलीट्स रोते होते हैं, दे विल स्टार्ट क्राइंग. वो आंसू कहाँ से निकलते हैं? वाई आर दे क्राइंग व्हेन दे विन? वो जीतने के बाद क्यों रोते हैं? हारने के बाद रोना चाहिए.
खुशी के आंसू.
खुशी के आंसू. हाँ,
खुशी के आंसू होते हैं.
खुशी के आंसू नहीं है वो, दैट इज प्राइड. प्राइड के आंसू होते हैं
वो
खुशी के. तो वैसे
ऐसा लगता है
Proud feeling as the Indians.
दैट मोमेंट
Sir.
यू आर यस दर्शन.
सर, उनको ऐसा लगता है कि आज हमारी इस मेहनत के चक्कर में, छोटी सी मेहनत में के कारण, हमारा देश का तिरंगा सबसे ऊपर लहरा रहा है और हमारा नेशनल एंथम गाया जा रहा है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही है. दे फील दैट दे हैव कंट्रीब्यूटेड टू द ग्रेटनेस ऑफ द कंट्री, दैट्स व्हाई दैट हैपेंस. तो ये वंदे मातरम गाने से होता था. वंदे मातरम ऑब्वियसली कंपोज्ड बाय बंकिम चंद्र चट्टोपाध्याय. लेटर इट वाज इंक्लूडेड इन द नॉवेल कॉल्ड आनंद मठ. आनंद मठ में उसको इंक्लूड किया गया. द थर्ड वन इज अबाउट द फ्लैग. अब तीसरा तो फ्लैग है, व्हाट यू सी नाउ इज द ट्राई फ्लैग विद अशोक चक्र इन द सेंटर. बट फ्लैग ऐसा नहीं होता था. फ्लैग ट्राई कलर का ही होता था, बट उसमें ग्रीन, रेड एंड वाइट होता था. एंड देयर यूज्ड टू बी 8 लोटसेस प्रोवाइडिंग 8 प्रोविंसेस, जैसे बंगाल है, मद्रास हो गया, तो प्रोविंसेस होता था. उसके बाद उसमें सन एंड मून का, क्रेसेंट मून का होता था, टू डिपिक्ट द रिलीजन हिंदू एंड मुस्लिम. Then Gandhiji developed his own flag with again the same colors. Yellow था पहले शायद previous flag में. Then Gandhi ji developed a tricolored flag where he had charkha in the centerpiece, which was showing the Gandhian idea of self-help. गांधी खुद ये मानते थे कि कपड़े हमें ही बनाना चाहिए और ना ही हम किसी पे डिपेंडेंट है. तो दैट इज शोइंग अबाउट द डिपेंडेंसी ऑफ पीपल. तो इसके बाद पिंगली वेंकैया है जो बहुत फ्लैग बने हैं. कभी ऐसे मत सोचो कि तीसरा फ्लैग ही नेशनल फ्लैग बना है. बहुत फ्लैग मेकिंग का प्रोसेस बहुत लंबा है. मैडम कामा करके एक लेडी है, वो हेल्प इन मेकिंग द फ्लैग. उसके बाद पिंगली वेंकैया वो डिजाइन द 2:3 फ्लैग दैट यू सी नाउ विद सैफरन ग्रीन एंड वाइट एंड द अशोक चक्र इन द सेंटर. तो ये आज हमारा फ्लैग है. फ्लैग बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है उस टाइम में. लाइक इफ़ यू रिमेंबर, आप स्पोर्ट्स डे याद रखते हो, हमारा स्पोर्ट्स डे हुआ था. तो हम क्या करते हैं, एथलीट्स को थोड़ा सा मोटिवेट करने के चक्कर में हम लोग टैगोर हाउस का फ्लैग हो या नेहरू का हो या कुछ गांधी हाउस का फ्लैग हम पकड़ के उसको चिल्लाते हैं, गांधी गांधी टैगोर टैगोर. सो दैट ब्रिंग्स, ऐसा नहीं कि सडनली उसका परसेंटेज ज़्यादा हो जाता है. तो ऐसे तो नहीं होगा ना, वो तो तेज़ भागने वाला धीरे तो नहीं भागेगा. बट ये मोटिवेटिंग फैक्टर है. उनको लगता है कि या अभी वी शुड डू दिस. दैट्स द आइडिया ऑफ अ फ्लैग. द फोर्थ वन इज ऑब्वियसली लुकिंग इनटू द फोकलोर. हमारे फोकलोर जो है इसमें ही सब कुछ अवेलेबल है. मैंने आपको एक बताया था जोहान हर्डर का, जर्मन में, व्हेन ही बिलीव दैट ट्रू जर्मन कल्चर इज देयर इन द फोक, दस फोक. तो पोलिश में आपने देखेंगे, पोलिश के डांसेस भी है. तो डांसेस उनके डांस के थ्रू उनके कंट्री के एक्सप्रेशन आते हैं. तो हमारे भी कुछ ऐसे बहुत बहुत एपिक्स लिखा है, फोक टेल्स में है हमारे कंट्री के कल्चर. तो उसको हम वापस लाएंगे, बुक्स में लिखेंगे, उसको पब्लिश करेंगे, तो लोग उसको पढ़ेंगे, उसको लगेगा कि हाँ मेरा कंट्री महान है. आज भी देखो महाभारत प्रोबेबली द ग्रेटेस्ट स्क्रिप्ट एवर रिटन. ऐसे कोई स्क्रिप्ट ही नहीं लिखा होगा, ऐसे कोई कहानी भी नहीं लिखा होगा. आप इलियड ओडिसी भी पढ़ा होगा, इलियड ओडिसी भी हमसे छोटा बन जाता है. महाभारत में कितने चैप्टर्स है, उसमें कितने सब स्टोरीज है, सब स्टोरी में एक दूसरा सब स्टोरी है. आप पढ़ते जाएंगे तो आपको पता चलेगा, रामायण हो या महाभारत हो या उपनिषद हो या वेदास, उसमें इतना हमारे ट्रू कल्चर है. दैट्स वन थिंग. सेकेंड वन, द अचीवर्स इन द फील्ड्स ऑफ आर्ट, आर्किटेक्चर, रिलीजियस, जो भी हम देखो, वी आर वेरी प्राउड टू से दैट जीरो वेंट फ्रॉम हियर. मजाक के लिए हम बहुत कुछ बोल सकते हैं, बट जीरो हो या जो पाइथागोरस का थ्योरम हो या कुछ रॉकेट के साइंटिस्ट के टेक्नोलॉजी हो, या हम मजाक में क्या बोलते हैं, पुष्पक का विमान भी हमने ही शुरू किया, तो एरोप्लेन हमारा होना चाहिए. वो तो मजाक में बोलना, लेकिन बट आइडिया तो वही है ना. पुष्पक का विमान ऑल्सो समथिंग लाइक द एन एरोप्लेन. तो राइट ब्रदर्स नहीं है उसके पेटेंट करने वाले, होने चाहिए रावण, क्योंकि रावण के पास पुष्पक का विमान था, है ना. तो नेक्स्ट वन हो गया अलग अलग, जैसे चरका, सुश्रुता, आर्यभट्टा, Brahmagupta, Bhaskaracharya. Now come to the education one. You know the Nalanda, Takshila universities which flourished in India. Buddhism flourished in India. Jainism flourished in India. Kung Fu flourished in India. तो हम तो खूब कंट्रीब्यूटर है. अब इसको हम पढ़ेंगे, इसको सुनेंगे तो हमें लगेगा कि आवर कंट्री इज द ग्रेटेस्ट. अब इतना आपको पता है. एंड द फाइनल थिंग इज, आप इतना होने के बावजूद भी आपको रूल करने वाला फॉरेन लैंड से है. नाउ यू थिंक दैट योर रूलर इज फ्रॉम फॉरेन लैंड. कोई गोरा आपको रूल कर रहा है, तो आपको कैसे, हाउ कैन यू टॉलरेट इट? दैट इज द आइडिया ब्रिंगिंग दैट फोकलोर. सो वन एफर्ट वाज मेड बाय नटेश शास्त्री. He compiled all the folk tales in southern India under the book called The Folklore of South India, Tales of the Sun. तो उसको बनाया. रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर also did the same thing. जो भी आज भी देखो, आज भी जितने फोक टेल्स है, फोक सॉन्ग्स है, रिकॉर्डेड नहीं है, दैट इट्स नॉट डॉक्यूमेंटेड. लोगों से लोगों तक आता है, वो गाना गाते हैं, रिकॉर्डेड नहीं है. अगर रिकॉर्ड करेंगे तो ट्रू एसेंस ऑफ द कंट्रीज कल्चर का जो अच्छा सच का एसेंस है वो वहाँ फोक टेल्स में मिलता है. ये चार हो गया जो बनाया. दीज वर द मेजर्स विच वेर टेकन बाय द नेशनलिस्ट पीपल टू spread nationalism among people, or else you can say to spread the collective belonging, sense of collective belonging among the Indians. That's where the chapter ends. तो आई एम वेरी श्योर मैंने 1 घंटे में पूरा इसको रिवाइज करने की कोशिश किया, एंड ऑल ऑफ यू कंट्रीब्यूटेड 12 मेंबर्स टुगेदर. तो आपको मैं बधाई देना चाहता हूँ. इट वाज वेरी वेल डन. कोई मैं ऐसे नहीं बोलता कि ये अच्छा किया है, इसने अच्छा किया. इट वाज द फर्स्ट टाइम, बट खूब मेहनत के साथ आपने किया है. एंड विथ वॉट एवर टाइम वो फ्रेमवर्क हमसे था, एंड वी मेंटेन्ड. मुझे लगा 1:30 तक जाएगा, बट 1 आवर में ख़त्म हो गया. एंड इट वाज वेरी वेल डन. नेक्स्ट चैप्टर जब होगा तो हम इसको कंटिन्यू करेंगे. हाउ वाज इट? आपको अच्छा लगा?
सर बहुत अच्छा लगा.
तो नेक्स्ट चैप्टर हम करेंगे. नेक्स्ट चैप्टर विल बी. यस शशांक, यू आर सेइंग समथिंग. नो शशांक म्यूट किया है. शशांक
I'm not audible.
शशांक अनम्यूट करो. Still not audible.
Naturally.
Okay, fine. नेक्स्ट चैप्टर फेडरलिज्म है. पॉलिटिकल साइंस है. डेमोक्रेटिक पॉलिटिक्स 2 से फेडरलिज्म है. स्टडी फेडरलिज्म फ्रॉम टुमारो. तो कल मैं आपके स्केड्यूल में डाल दूंगा कि क्या क्या क्लासेस है. द नेक्स्ट क्लास इज ऑन थर्सडे, विल सी ऑन दैट वन. और उसके बाद कुछ आपके अभी नाउ इट्स द टाइम टू राइट योर क्लास वर्क एंड द होमवर्क क्वेश्चंस. तो आपको अभी पता चला ही होगा, यूज इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स को ही आपने एक्सप्लेन किया है. अगर इससे अलावा कुछ क्वेश्चंस है आप डाल सकते हैं. अगेन आई एम एक्सटेंडिंग माई हार्टफेल्ट थैंक्स टू ऑल द 12. मैंने शाम को सबको मैसेज किया था वो भी रिक्वेस्ट भी नहीं किया था. मैंने बोला आई नीड यू टू एक्सप्लेन दिस वन. तो आपने विदाउट सेइंग एनीथिंग यू एग्रीड टू डू इट. सो
आपने प्लीज डाला था सर.
ओके, ऐसे मत बोलो.
वर्ड
अरे मेरे बेइज्जती करवाओगे क्या दर्शना?
नहीं सर, पर you were kind to us. You were kind to us. You did not order us to do that.
ओके चलो, मैंने डाला होगा तब तो. ओके गाइज, नाउ आई वुड से थैंक यू फॉर दैट. इट्स 11:40. आज हाफ डे है तो कोई क्लासेस नहीं रहेगा. कोई नहीं, सोशल का क्लासेस नहीं रहेगा. बाकी का मुझे पता नहीं है. वॉच आउट फॉर देयर ग्रुप एंड क्लासरूम. एंड सोशल क्लास विल रिज्यूम फ्रॉम टुमारो 12. सो बाय बाय गाइज. थैंक यू once again and goodbye. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.